More of the Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
All right, welcome back in. 4:15 on a Friday from the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Let's go out to the phone lines right now. A lot to do today on the show. Bob Hurley Sr. is going to join us at 5:15. But first, let's talk a little Philadelphia sports. Also, talk a little Barstool with Smitty from Barstool is kind enough to hop on board with us right now. Smitty, appreciate a few minutes, and how are you?
Good, Zach. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, and I appreciate it. For the first time, I actually listened to Swipe Drunk in Love the other day, and I heard the interview with Howie Rose. That was great.
Yeah. For anyone coming from the Mets organization, I did not give as much respect as I should have. That guy is a legend, not only in broadcasting, but in life.
Yeah, I got a chance to know Howie very well. My dad and Howie worked together. He actually did my bar mitzvah intro when I was 13, so that was very cool. But how awkward was that? Because you're sitting there next to his daughter, and it's a very provocative show that you guys have.
Yeah, there's very little we don't go into in life and love and happiness. So his daughter, Alyssa Rose, is an absolute sweetheart. But there's, some of the topics we get into are as you said, pretty provocative. So it was pretty touchy having him on at first. We were given a lot of strict guidelines, myself more than others. But once he came on, he's a natural. He can fit himself in any situation. He basically took over the show.
How tough was it for you to hold back and just usually do what you were supposed to do during the podcast and not do it this time around?
It's tough for me holding back at the dinner table or in church or anywhere, let alone during a dating podcast in front of Howie Rose's daughter. But it was good. I, for the most part, kept my mouth shut.
Smitty from Barstool with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. I saw a video of you, by the way, the other day getting tased. Why the heck did you get tased?
You know, Zach, I don't know.
What does it feel like to get tased?
It doesn't tickle. I'll tell you that much. No, we have a very competitive atmosphere up in Barstool HQ in New York, and sometimes when adults aren't present, we make decisions that aren't very smart. So I ended up playing another employee in NCAA football 2007 for our video game show called Barstool Game Time, and the loser had to get tased, and I played with Temple, so that shows you how much Temple 2007 rather,
and
that shows you how well that ended up.
I was gonna say, this day of the Temple Owls, you'd probably be good. Being a recent Temple alum, you should have been in a good spot.
Yeah. It wasn't even like the Dan Klecko years where I can name someone. It was bad. It wasn't. It was a good game, but I did not come out on top. And we got some electricity running through the blood, literally.
When you're getting tased, do you have to reevaluate your life and just think to yourself, how the heck did I get to this point?
There are a lot of situations in which I sit down and reevaluate a lot of things, but that was up there. That was up there. My mother actually called me in tears after that one. Which
what did she say?
It's just one of those things, seeing your son lifeless on the ground, that just doesn't resonate too well with parents, apparently. But she's fine. We talked through it. It wasn't that bad. It was more of a stun than an actual shock, which again doesn't tickle, but it's not. I wouldn't recommend it for you kids out there.
Yeah, but here's the problem: you did it the first time, and then you were dumb enough to do it the second time. Like, why do it a second time?
Because I am a victim of peer pressure. And when you have the entire company saying, "Oh, that didn't look good enough for the cameras," there's really no right answer for that one. Just don't fall for peer pressure.
And Portnoy is very convincing. He started calling you out, and the next thing you know, you have to jump in and just do it again. What's it like to work for Dave Portnoy?
Let me word my words correctly. It's an experience. You kind of have to be on your toes at all time, expect everything. Your personal life, you have no personal life whatsoever. He will air anything out there that's possible. You take a Howard Stern on steroids here. It's you got to keep your head on the swivel and be responsible for basically everything you do. But I mean, it's a good environment, and the guy's good at what he does. No matter if you are the victim of getting tased for content or not. But, yeah, he's a good dude, and we appreciate all he's done for Barstool.
How did you join Barstool, by the way? How did you find Portnoy?
The long story short is I was a stand-up comedian in Philly, moved to New York, not just for that, but I decided to take a chance, crashed and burned, and we're talking 2010, 2011, moved back to Philly, tail between legs, and didn't want to get back into stand-up, so I started a sports blog that was Philly and comedy-based. That kind of got legs, and he was looking for Barstool Philly guy to open up a new city. I applied, didn't get it, but wrote for free for a couple of years, and eventually worked my way up.
Now, the thing I love about Dave Portnoy a lot, one, he loves the Patriots, and I love all the videos that he puts out about the Patriots. But when I'm at work, I'm sitting there on my Instagram, and I see these pizza reviews every day, and I thought the one of his grandmother was absolutely hilarious. But if we were to do that here in Philadelphia in the South Jersey area, it really wouldn't be pizza. It would be cheesesteaks. So since you're a comedian and since you've probably been to all the cheesesteak spots, if you had to give me your favorite cheesesteaks, where do you go?
I'm going straight to D'Alessandro's or Steve's in the Northeast. Same question.
I like D'Alessandro's 110%. Steve's, I think, is a little bit overrated. My favorite, actually, is this place in Bala Cynwyd called Mama's. Have you ever been there?
I have, and it's off the radar, which I like. I like those little spots that don't get a lot of attention. Even the tourist traps, Pat's and Gino's, they're good enough if you want to give a recommendation somewhere. But the little spots off the radar are the best.
To me, Pat's and Gino's is more of the type, of course, of the tourist trap. But if you're drunk and you're a college student at 1, 2 a.m., that's when you go to Pat's and Gino's. Fair assessment?
Naturally, and it's open 24/7. If you want a cheesesteak in a fight, you go there.
Especially after an Eagles loss or something, that's when it gets really rowdy.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Smitty from Barstool with us right now. All right, let's talk some sports. Ryan Howard signed with the Braves, going to be on their AAA team, going to get some extended spring training. As a Phillies fan, how do you react to Ryan Howard now being on the Braves and maybe one day being on their big league club?
I feel I root for him until the day one of us dies. He did a lot for Philly, but you can just see it happening right now. He's going to be on the big league roster, getting 0-2 away pitch in which he used to swing as hard as I punch in my dreams, and he will hit it out of the park and beat the Phillies. It's just naturally how it's going to happen. But I don't know how that move makes real sense for Howard or for the Braves. Why not wait out for a DH position later in the season for a possible winner instead of a spring training contract, essentially with the loser, in which he's not going to be able to play first base anyway in the bigs. So I just don't see how it works either way.
Now, when Utley returned, he got that standing ovation when he hit the home run, and you all know how much Philadelphia loves Chase Utley, and they love Ryan Howard too, like you were just saying. But when he hits that home run against the Phillies to win a game, do they give him a standing ovation because he's on the Braves if it's a home run, or not so much?
See, this is why I didn't have an issue doing it against Utley. It's going to depend if the game matters or not for playoff implications.
Which it won't.
Which it won't. So I'm all for cheering past legends like Howard and Utley coming back. If it's late in the season and the game doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But I'll tell you what, if the game does matter in any way, shape, or form, you give him a standing ovation when he comes back before the game, and then it's enemy there for out. Same kind of like when McNabb came back as a Redskin.
Do you trust Klentak?
Very appropriate way.
Do you trust Klentak, Smitty?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. Did you trust Ruben Amaro?
No.
Holy hell! Good God, it's nice. It's nice to be working with some technology and some statistics for once instead of just pure gut. And Pat Gillick was a gut guy, which is great because he had a great gut. He won world championships with the Blue Jays and the Phillies. But Ruben Amaro, I'm not even sure he has a gut to go to, let alone one to pull from. So getting Klentak in here and having him go full sabermetrics on everything, you see the moves he's made already. They're smart. It's long term. They rebuilt the farm system as best as they possibly can thus far. I have definitely have faith with him in the future.
In the Smitty Trust radar, where do you trust Howie Roseman?
It's exploded. It's exploded. There is no possible radar. It's been jammed out in the bottom of the Pacific. How can I should be cautiously optimistic more about Howie, especially in this offseason with a couple of Band-Aid moves as he has brought on, as well as, I mean, we could all see what Carson Wentz has the potential to do. But, I mean, come on. The guy was, whether he was pulling the strings or not in 2011, he was GM during the Dream Team year. He brought on Chip Kelly. How many chances are you going to give this guy for rebuild purposes?
And I think the timetable for me, Smitty, is you give him this year, and then the year after that, if they're not ready to win, and you go through that year and enter in year 4, and they're not ready to win a Super Bowl, you got to get rid of him. But I don't have a lot of confidence that Jeffrey Lurie's going to do that because, I don't know, maybe he has naked pictures. Maybe Howie has naked pictures of Jeffrey Lurie or something, but it's ridiculous.
I think Howie Roseman is the biggest, I don't want to say snake, but he's probably the most persuasive politician outside of politics the world has ever seen. Even during this rebuild, he brought on Chip Kelly personally, almost, him and Jeffrey Lurie, and it was a complete unmitigated disaster. He got rid of Chip Kelly and put himself in a position to not only be in control again, but to have Jeffrey Lurie and the fan base essentially give him a 3-year contract, because you have to see if it works out or not.
Let's say Smitty is the GM. Who do you go with 14th in this year's draft?
Oh, God. The best cornerback there, the best corner. If they go with anything else, if they draft a running back, who I like the top running backs this year, but there's no Ezekiel Elliott. That position is just so you could pick Jordan Howard was 5th round last year, and he was second in rushing. So, I mean, there's so much talent out there. You pick the best cornerback, maybe defensive lineman out there.
By the way, what's Barstool doing for the draft this year?
I know part of my take is going to be down there doing some stuff. I plan to be down there in Philly. It's going to be right in my old backyard in Fairmount. Officially with the NFL, probably not much because they don't like us. But unofficially, we'll try to get some good material one way or the other.
When you're in your office, and I thought it was comical what Goodell did at the Super Bowl at the press conference. I was at Radio Row, and I remember just hearing everyone laughing, basically him just pretending like he's never heard of Barstool before, like it was some sort of foreign word to him and that he didn't know how to define it or anything. It was absurd, and Goodell's a joke. I don't want to, give away my opinions on Goodell too much because then the NFL won't approve me for anything. Yeah. But with Goodell, when Goodell's like mentioned in your office, what happens? Does Portnoy just come running around the corner and he just has the room? You can hear everything when it comes in terms of Goodell?
Oh, pretty much. He's got Goodell rabbit ears. He perks right up, and that face turns red. And he doesn't even need to be talking about. We don't even need to be talking about the NFL or Goodell. If something happens that he hates, it always comes back to Goodell. Always comes back to Goodell. He's like, scumbag. We could be talking about the Masters this week. Charlie Hoffman coming out top. It's like, where did this guy come from? I didn't bet on him. You know what? Screw Goodell too. That's enough of him. And being in a Boston-based atmosphere, coming from Philadelphia, it's getting a little old and tedious. But especially because we're never going to win anything, and at least Prez keeps it a little bit entertaining.
I have to bring up something about the Sixers because we had LeVar Ball on the show yesterday, and he basically gave me the same line that went viral yesterday, except he just excluded the whole white guy stuff, that they don't have good foot speed. And, he said to me basically, he goes, the reason my son's team lost was just basically because he had to score 30 points, and they didn't score 30 points that day, and that's it. And the next thing you know, he does another interview, and then, of course, he brings up racial stuff, and then it goes viral and everything, of course. But with LeVar Ball, he also said in the interview yesterday that if the Sixers get Lonzo Ball, they will have a chance, and they will make the playoffs in the first year, and they'll have a chance to win the championship. When you hear something like that, do you just chuckle at LeVar Ball at this point?
I do not want his son because I do not want the package, that deal that comes with his father. You want to talk about overbearing high school parent? Can you imagine what Brett Brown would have to go through to just listening to this guy in his ear? Like, 2 rows back because there's no way you're keeping him out of the stadium. There's no way you're keeping him out of the press. I like his kid. I think his kid would fit in very, very well with the Sixers, especially with what they need. But good God, keep that guy as far away from this Sixers program as possible.
I'd be fine if they drafted Lonzo. I want Malik Monk, and that's the guy that I'm really hoping they get. But imagine if Brett Brown,
you and
yes,
every other
every other person. And I'm not a Sixers fan. I'm from New York originally. You know, I do have to admit that. But with that and LeVar Ball, it's just like if they have to put him with Brett Brown after everything Brett Brown has gone through, like it would just be such a disservice to Brett Brown that he has to once again answer these ridiculous questions. Like I've never seen a coach have to answer more ridiculous questions than Brett Brown.
Yeah, he's put himself into it and dealing with these young kids. I think he's done an incredible job. I can't wait to see him work his magic with actual talent that's ready to win, and I think he deserves it.
Hey, last thing before we let Smitty from Barstool run, how do you describe the Sixers medical staff right now?
Dr. Nick from The Simpsons, basically. I don't know. What the hell are they doing?
Why are they playing Sarge right now? I don't get it.
I'm not big on sitting for medical reasons, but the luck has been not that great with injuries with the Sixers. They want to give them a minute restriction for the last couple games. That's fine. It's not going to matter in the long run. It's not like people are paying money to go see Dario individually. I mean, he has been a great addition. Like blew my mind this year as a rookie. But let's get all these guys healthy. Him, Embiid, Simmons out on the court one time, throw in a couple other guys. Boom, dynasty.
Hey, Smitty, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Zach.
There's Smitty from Barstool joining us on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. We start him off with the Phillies, and he has confidence in the Phillies. And then we go right into the Eagles. And it was the complete antithesis. It goes from having confidence in one team to then the next team, you just heard all of his frustration. That was great. And then you get back to the Sixers, and you can tell, no way, he does not want Lonzo Ball because of LeVar Ball. But with the Eagles, here's the point with the Eagles. I don't know what to make out of Howie Roseman. I can't tell you 110% that, yes, he's going to work. No one can. And Howie Roseman is someone that he has a lot of critics. He has a lot of people that are skeptical of him because of his past. But like I said before, here's the timetable. He got last year. He got you Carson Wentz. He gets this year. And then he gets the year after that. And then the year after that, going into year number 4. If they're not ready to win, then Jeffrey Lurie has to say, bye-bye, Howie. And that's going to be difficult for him to do. I'll give you more of my confidence on Howie Roseman because I was someone that was against bringing him back. I thought you had to start fresh. And he's made some good moves here, and he's made some bad moves. A lot of the fan base's tone, I feel like, is saying, he makes more good moves. But if you remember, he gave Vinny Curry a big deal last year. He's made some foolish decisions. And now the point is with Howie Roseman, he has to hit on this year's draft and next year's draft. That is the thing, without a doubt, he has to hit on these next 2 drafts. Because then if he doesn't, and we've mentioned this before, then you turn into the team like the Colts, where it is, okay, you have the quarterback, you have that transcendent quarterback, someone that could have a lot of success in this league, and someone that shows a lot of promise. But then you have diddly squat around him. You have no running back, no offensive line, no wide receiver, no defense, and that's what you have with the Colts. And with the Eagles, they have better building pieces. For example, you have Hicks. You have Fletcher Cox. You have Wentz. And I take Luck over Wentz, but I'd rather have the roster the Eagles have than what the Colts have. And that shows you how remarkable it was that Luck even got to that AFC Championship game before you had all that hogwash of Deflategate. But overall, with the Eagles, where's your confidence level with them? Right now, it's a to be determined. If you had to give me a yes or no, if I had to give you a yes or no answer, I would say that I have more confidence in them just because of the quarterback, but solely because they have the quarterback. But can you imagine? Imagine if Howie screws up this year. Imagine if Howie screws up next year in the draft, and they blow this opportunity. The Eagle fan, you can't even describe how livid they would be. This would be, really, you would have a mob mentality with Howie Roseman. It would be that bad. People were already calling for him in this offseason. People calling for him in this offseason. That happens all the time. But if Howie, let's say this year, just completely screws up the draft, and they don't have any players that look like they're going to be promising, there's going to be hell to pay for in Philadelphia. It's going to be ugly. 609-919-9200. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. But I do love Barstool. I'm a Patriot fan. I'm a Mets fan. I know it's a little bit bizarre, but we've explained it before. My dad worked on Sundays. My next-door neighbor was my uncle. He's from Framingham, and we went to all the games together. First quarterback I watched was Drew Bledsoe, and then Tom Brady came along. And it's been good to be a part of that ride. But one more thing, actually, because I'm a Mets fan as well. And we were talking about Howie Rose and Alyssa Rose on the Swipe Drunk Love podcast that I listened to for the first time the other day. Here was part of the bar mitzvah call of Howie Rose that he did. It's an excerpt. This thing was like 45, 50 seconds, and then after it faded out, I came out with two smoking hot girls, and I was 13 years old, typical Jewish kid, and jumping up and down, and came out to Party Up by DMX, and they had to bleep out like half the song because it wasn't a PG-13 type of song. But for some reason, I got my parents, I convinced them to let me come out to that and really get introduced at the bar mitzvah. But here's some of the call by Howie Rose that was played at my bar mitzvah.
Mariano Rivera looking in. It's 2-2. Here's the pitch to Zach Gelb, and a cutter hit in the air deep to left center field. Matsui going back. He falls down. Damon going back. He trips over Matsui, and this ball is gone over the fence for a home run. Put it in the books. The Mets have won the World Series, and they do it on a home run from the World Series' most valuable player, Zach Gelb.
That's right. Oh, what a call by Howie Rose. Maybe his best one yet. 4:37 is the time in the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios. Nah, that's Matto, obviously. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we got to talk a little bit about Tim Tebow. He hit a home run yesterday. You got to hear the Titanic version of it, though. More of the Zach Gelb Show when we come back.